Hey, it's Nadia with Empower Counseling. Today I want to talk about one of my passion areas, which is emerging adult concerns. So these are my people that are about 17 to 24-ish in age, and they're going through that major life transition into becoming an adult. So whether they are going off to college, moving out of their parents' house, or entering the job industry, they're learning to take in all of this information, learn to make these decisions, and learning to manage all of these new responsibilities. We've all been there. We've all been the kid that we get mad at our parents and we don't like the rules, and we fantasize about being an adult because we can make our own rules, we can stay up all night, we can eat candy and pizza and ice cream and whatever we want. And now that you're here, you're realizing that's not what adulthood is. And it sucks. It does. So one of the major things that I see is people going through this and thinking it should be easier. So they're thinking they're overreacting because they're looking at their friends, siblings, or people on social media that make it look so easy. Side note though, don't fall into the social media trap because you don't know what's going on behind the curtain, but I digress. So the problem is what you're doing in minimizing this or thinking you're overreacting is you're invalidating the legitimacy of your concerns and your experience, which is extremely valid and very important to recognize and deal with. So this doesn't get talked about enough. So let's talk about it. I want you to be aware of the symptoms. I want you to get the help that you need, or research, or whatever it is. So what do the mental health symptoms look like when we're talking about emerging adult, transitioning into adulthood, those kinds of issues? Let's start with anxiety. So the first thing that you may notice about anxiety is you find yourself just worrying about the outcome. You're worrying about the what ifs. You're shoulding on yourself. Shoulding. So the shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? You're living in the past of what you could have done differently. You may find that you are replaying your day over and over and over and over and over again in your head, or playing over a specific moment where you feel like you could have said something differently or done something differently, and you just can't get that worry and racing thought process calmed down and out of your head. You're likely holding yourself up to unobtainable standards of perfection. It's important to remember that perfection does not actually exist. So you're setting yourself up for a lot of grief trying to reach this bar that really is just going to keep going up when you get closer. Important to remember that perfection does not exist. And finally, you may find that you can't sleep all night because you're up with those racing thoughts, or falling into the trap of looking at the clock every hour and then stressing yourself out about how much sleep you actually need to function the next day, and you're not getting close to the 6 to 8 hours that you actually need, right? So it's important to remember that anxiety has such a gray area on the spectrum that it's not just those major panic attacks that we see on TV that send people to the hospital. Very important to remember that. So what's next? Depression. How do you know if you're experiencing depression related to all of the stress that you're going through? What does it look like? Well, first you may find that you feel like a failure. You feel like you should be doing better, that you could have performed on the test better or done something differently to get a better outcome that you wanted, and you really just kind of beat yourself up about it. That can be some depression in the making. Also feeling like you're alone in these problems, because we touched on everybody else makes it look so easy. So you must be the only one experiencing this. And that's a common misconception that we trap ourselves in, and that is very depressing, isn't it? And along with that, you may find that you're feeling too embarrassed to ask for help, or you're feeling ashamed, or maybe even guilty, feeling like you're disappointing your parents or other people that you look up to as a positive role model. You're not alone, but it's so common for us to get trapped in that line of thought, and it's just a vicious circle. Then, let's see. Oh yeah, crying easily or excessively. Whoa, right? So anything can happen and you just start crying. And you can't really pinpoint why, but there is an absolute fundamental issue, and that is you're not addressing the emotions that are going along with all of this stress of adulting. And then finally, you may find changes in your appetite. So whether you are stress eating and you just can't stop even though you're not hungry, or you just don't have an appetite at all anymore. Those are just some major signs of depression. What's next? Burnout. The burnout beast is rough. So how you get to burnout is when you leave your anxiety and depression unchecked too long. Burnout is a beast, like I said. So what does the beast look like? So if you're burned out, you're going to be feeling overwhelmed, like you can't get everything done that you need done. There's not enough hours in the day, and this might even lead to you procrastinating. You may find that you are tired and you're just fatigued all day in this brain fog. It doesn't matter how much sleep you got, you just can't wake up. You may also find yourself irritable, short-tempered. It's not just the next thing is going to make you snap for no reason, right? That's how we feel, is there's no reason for us to feel this way. But again, there is. Unaddressed issues cause burnout. Another big issue is you can't concentrate. So if you're in college, you can't study, you can't do your homework, you can't focus on a test. Going into the job industry, you may feel that you can't align your thoughts on how you want to present yourself to the potential employer, doing research about the job, those kinds of things. You may also find that you're impatient. You want results and you want them now, and you don't want to have to put in the work to do it because you're exhausted. And then we have loss of interest. So whether it's just not doing things that you used to enjoy or not finding pleasure in those activities when you make yourself do them. And then we have the physical symptoms, which is, the headache, the neck and back pain, and then other medical issues could be high blood pressure, and other things that you would need to consult a medical doctor to assess and diagnose. So, in saying all of that, do you feel validated? How do you feel hearing somebody say this is normal? I hope it feels good, because it's really important that you feel validated and you recognize these things so you can work through it. So it's a lot of pressure to be putting on yourself. And again, it's really important just to recognize that these things are real, these things are normal. You will and you can get through it. So if this stuff hits home for you, consider talking to a counselor. So a counselor can help you harness your power, learn to navigate adult life, learn how to make good decisions for yourself, and learn how to manage all of the symptoms that go along with all of this stress during this transition for you. So if you're a Georgia resident and you are interested in any kind of counseling services, you can give us a call at Empower Counseling at 770-283-8386, or check out our website to meet our therapists at www.empowercounseling.net. I hope that you think that you can get through this, because you can. It's time to take your power back and feel confident in yourself.